Somehow, there's another update to this AI slop saga because I guess everybody spoke to their lawyers and got their talking points ready, but knowing the situation here, they probably asked ChatGPT to do the statements for them. So, what's going on? Well, the artist at the center of this whole thing uploaded some of his own art from the book to his Instagram and somewhat defended one of his pictures, but in the process, kind of passed the buck to management and somehow raised more questions than answers. This is what he had to say. Thank you for your questions. As noted in the link provided, all images go through a team or director for approval. Some things are added, subtracted, or redesigned in this process. Now, to answer the question about the cross, sometimes when illustrations get published, the size is much smaller in a book or magazine, so there is some compression of the image. This is not a cross, but a wall scone for a candle. This is a very minor piece of composition and used for decoration and balance. My brother in Christ, the full picture reveals that on the other end of that wall, there are candle scones that look vastly different than the crucifix you put on there, if you even did the background at all. But what I find funny is that you opened up the idea of management, whether George's art director or people at Penguin Random House, fucking with your work as something of a possibility, and that was not a good move on your part, but a very good piece of information for us to have. Because you are telling us that you pretty much passed the buck onto them, that they could have used AI to fuck with the finished piece. Obviously, you signed some contract to where you can't shed light on this, but blink twice if I'm somewhere close to the truth. And to the audience, if you guys had the idea that Penguin Random House could have messed with his art, then, well, you might not be far off. For those of you who are new to my channel, every now and then I collaborate with my friend and fellow YouTuber Trey the Explainer. Recently, Trey took up a corporate job as a graphic designer, and he told us this story about how several times when he was finished with a project, management would come in, take it, and use AI to edit it.
I was like a graphic designer. I made diagrams and maps and all kinds of visuals for I don't know, to be used in presentations. And yeah, that was something that was kind of like, not like a rude awakening. Maybe it was a rude awakening or whatever, but it's very common in the industry where, yeah, you'll get your work back and the boss will be like, yeah, I want it to look like this or whatever.
I also want to throw this in here a bit for more fuel on the fire. Did you know that the CEO to this company, the company that put out the Feast for Crows Illustrated Edition, the CEO, Nihar Malviya, he said a while back that he wants AI to come in and replace people at the company to sell more books. Here is the full quote from his New York Times article. Mr. Malviya's primary goal is growth. After the collapse of the Simon & Schuster deal, it became clear Penguin Random House could not buy its way out of the decline. So much of its growth will have to come organically. By selling more books, Mr. Malviya said that hopefully AI will help, making it easier to publish more titles without hiring ever more employees. End quote. And to drive the point home even further, allow me to point you to one more piece of news recently. If you were a gamer in the 90s, then you probably remember Square Enix being the king of RPGs. Well, recently they announced that in the next few years, AI will be doing a majority of their quality assurance testing, which means they'll be laying off even more workers. Now, let me make this very clear. I'm not saying that the artist here, McDonald, used AI in his work. I don't know if he did or not. But what I am saying is that the possibility of management coming in and using AI to fuck with his art is very possible. You heard Trey's experience on this, and you heard the CEO himself saying that he wants more AI used in the company. Yeah, it's an idea worth considering. But here's the funny thing. Even if, and I've said this before in previous videos, I'll say it here, even if he did use AI, and Penguin Random House didn't do anything to it, that doesn't matter. And I want to make this very clear. Make sure you echo this throughout the entirety of wherever you go to talk about this. These pieces went through many hands that they let this through. It's crazy to me that not only did it go through someone who worked with George R.R. Martin for almost 15 years, but it went through a multi-million-dollar company whose top boss said they want to utilize AI for their projects going forward. I'll let you be the judge here as to what's happening. As for George, because people have been asking, like, what's his thoughts on the matter? The reason George has been quiet is because he's traveling to Iceland for a con, and he'll be there from the 12th to the 15th. George normally doesn't blog when he's away, so we'll have to wait for any word on him on his blog. And honestly, I know some of you guys are going to be upset with me for saying this, but fuck, it'll be so funny if George comes back and the first thing he says is that he was developing a new Wild Cards novel or finished work on something Wild Cards related just in time for the holidays. I couldn't even be angry at that. I would have to respect the master level troll, the master level burn that would be. I have to respect it. By the laws of gods and men, I just have to give it respect. I would probably be upset later down the line, of course, like everybody else would, but in that time, in that moment, I would just laugh so hard that, you know what? Fuck it. I'll buy a Wild Cards novel. Fuck it. Why not? All that being said, guys, thank you so much for joining us. As always, leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. You know the drill. Let me know your thoughts down below, and be prepared because I am gathering every single piece of information I've learned from people behind the scenes, from other artists who have worked on stuff like this before, and I will have a final video on this unless some random person behind the scenes comes up with their own statement, and then of course we will respond to that. But again, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you all next time. Have a good one.